It is crazy how close we were. I mean, they were like 5 and 20 something.
And it felt like they were on the verge of imploding so much, Kawhi Ballmer story
Dude,
and
I know. Like,
man.
there was like a couple weeks there where it was like, this is actually happening. Like what we've been hoping for like 3 years is actually happening. And then it didn't.
Welcome to the Daily Thunder podcast. This is Cray Allred, editor in chief of the site. I'm with Ryan Woods. Social media. I'm going to call you a social media manager
Sure.
because you started
That's
managing
lofty.
my emotions lately on social media. If anyone's doing the job, it's you. Ryan, how's it going?
That's what I was born to do. So I was born to do.
Tell people to chill on Twitter. How's it going?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Doing well. Very relaxed. Very relaxing win. The Brooklyn net rating boosters
Yeah, truly.
scored 24 points in the first half, and that was as close as it ever was.
Yeah.
It was just the Thunder outclassed a tanking team, and you just wonder, as fortunate as they were at the beginning of the season with the soft schedule, getting off to the 24-1 start, they could be feasting right now and a little bit more balance.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, what are any big takeaways from you from the game?
I two stats I really enjoyed. Shea accounted for more points in the first half than the entire Nets team. That's fun. And then the fewest points ever scored. Well, the Nets tied their franchise record for fewest points ever scored in a half, any half, with 24. 11 points and 13 points between the two quarters. Not very good. Our good friend Rylan Stiles had tweeted Brooklyn having a hard time putting the ball through the nets, and I enjoyed that. I thought that summed up that first half very well. Um, I think the
Brooklyn Nets.
Brooklyn Nets, yeah, just a lot of puns. The puns were flying tonight, as were the Jared McCain threes. He went five for 9. That was fun to watch. But I think the a lot of our listeners would fall into this category. I would say most of them, the true ball knowers, the knowers, capital K knowers. They know what tonight was about, and that was to see Aaron Wiggins see the ball go through the Brooklyn net. It had been a while since we've seen a game from him that we were excited about. 17.7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, uh, 3 of 7 from three. He had another one go down where his heel was on the out of bounds line. Just good to see some good vibes for Wiggins. It seemed very apparent that the team was trying to use the night to get Wiggins some touches, some looks, get his usage up, get his shot attempts up. Uh, he was such an important piece off the bench this time last season and into the playoffs. I just think they're still going to need the Aaron Wiggins that we saw from last year. They want to see that guy. They want to have him as an option off the bench in the playoffs. So it was great to see him get a starting nod tonight, as well as just play a bunch of minutes, get a lot of shots up, try and find some rhythm for Wiggs, and hopefully it carries over because he did have some stretches tonight where he looked like himself for the first time in a while.
Yeah, great night from Wiggins, and I also enjoyed the Jared McCain hour. I think
God,
everyone watching was like, okay, when Shea got his 20,
yeah.
and we're ahead by 100. So when do we just let Jared go to work?
There will be nights at some point where the McCain excitement doesn't involve a Daryl Morey shout out, but that night is not tonight, Cray. That night is not tonight. We must continue to bend the knee at the altar of Morey. Thank you, sir. This the sold high comment may never leave him. It might be on his tombstone. It might be on his NBA GM. tombstone sooner rather than later. Just a horrible decision by him, matched by worse PR. Just incredible, like the grand slam, hitting for the cycle type stuff from Daryl Morey. So shout out to him. Shout out to him.
Yeah, I mean, and with the whole Tyrese Maxey history for Daryl Morey, basically, I mean, I'd rather have Tyrese Maxey, I think, than McCain and Isaiah Joe, but he's done a really good job of kind of evening the score on
What side of
first round point guards.
what side of Reno Avenue is the Morey statue going on?
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate Sam Presti, very highly regarded as a stratas. He does strategy.
Strategizer.
Strategizers. I think I was gonna say statistician, like a statistician. Anyway,
I'll buy it.
yeah, he does strategery.
Yeah,
He does
yeah,
strategy.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, a lot of this has come down to like, leverage the Clippers when they're greedy. Clearly the greediest team in the league, as we're finding with some of the allegations and
An
reporting.
aspirational level of greed.
And take Daryl Morey's draft picks that he gets bored with. And you will do pretty well.
You think Presti has Morey like pinned? You know how you can pin certain contacts at the top? I think he might have him pinned.
Yeah. At this point, he like owes him another, a win, like a small win, just to like, keep the relationship and for winning another score.
You know how who was it? I was like watching a game the other night where they had like a I don't know if it was a former announcer or some maybe a coach. They had someone retired, like that didn't wear a jersey, but they had his name retired in the rafters. Um, and I was thinking maybe we could get Maury up in the rafters if Jared McCain continues this. Another really funny tweet I saw right before we came on was someone said, "Sold while high," and I enjoyed that. I thought I'd share. I let me see if I can find it just to give credit because it made me laugh. It really did make me laugh.
It's also just the kind of player he is. If he was a big that was getting, double digit rebounds and playing good defense, it wouldn't be this fun
Right.
to
It's
celebrate how awesome he looks
it's a
while
lot of stuff that fans have like have wanted to see. Like, what if not everyone had to be an ace defender? What if someone was just an elite shooter uh, and relocator and movement shooter? Like, what would that look like? And not only are they getting that, but they're getting so many of McCain's minutes are with Isaiah Joe. It's you not only get McCain, but you get the two best shooters on the team at the same time. It's just a blast to watch.
I don't think anything is real regarding the playoffs in terms of rotations until J-Dub, if and when J-Dub is back. And I think that's generally true with Mark Daignault in the regular season, but I do
Uh-huh.
think real experimentation is happening with
Yes.
like offense heavy, defense passing,
Yes. Yes.
not lanky giant guards, and not driving kick, right? Which is more like the Case and Wallace, Dort guards, ball handlers, but kind of I don't want to say two dimensional, but kind of two dimensional,
They're
right?
they're gonna go they're gonna
You
go
know,
see what they're gonna go see what's there and then be fine to bring that thing back to the
yeah,
top.
and totally earn it back on the other end on
Oh,
just
100%,
making life
100%.
miserable for players that can do much more varied things on offense, and they take away a lot of that. But I mean, like, and that's Isaiah Hartenstein too. I think, like, I just think he feels as much as I'm worried about his injuries, more valuable by the day,
Yes.
and for players to play off ball of Shea and on and off ball throughout the whole 48 minutes,
It
with AJ
it's
Mitchell and Jada being more kind of primary, you know floor commanders just having relocation, two-man game, just all zones open on offense, I think is it's going really well
Yeah.
on offense right now, and it's very exciting.
To see to see Hardenstein out there with both shooters and, like, he's just kind of like the sun, and you got these 2, like like, destroyer planets revolving around him. There's so much movement. He's really he's really showing off, the between the legs, like, he's passing it through his legs while setting the screen in one motion, like, that's high level stuff. It's fun to watch, and it just perfectly accentuates the talents and the skills of Joe and McCain. Shout out the Joe Kane uh, nickname. It's awesome. Um, I I think J Dub's return uh, is going to allow for more minutes with the shooters, specifically McCain with Shea, because we're not seeing a whole lot of that. A lot of McCain and Joe's minutes are coming with AJ and with both bigs, AJ, both bigs, and maybe Jay Will, but we aren't seeing much of Shea with those guys out there. And I think that has a lot to do with Dub still being out. He allows you to play um, one of those guys out one of those guys out there with Shea and letting Dub be one of the guys in that beginning of the second and fourth lineup. So, like you're saying, they're doing a lot of experimenting, and they have another pitch to throw. I think with Shea and those shooters, because in the minutes and lineups we have seen those guys together, it's insane, the net ratings and the offensive ratings. It's crazy what they have been when they are on the floor together. So I'm excited to see more of that too. Um, I think we'll get to see more of it and longer stints with it with J Dub back.
I hope so, yeah. And it could, like I said, it could be through game 82, and then things
Yeah,
feel much, much more familiar. And
and
the playoffs, the bread and butter stuff that won a title, you
I'm
know?
curious, what did you think like when the trade was made for Jared? At first, like, obviously, it's exciting to get a player like that, but, like, I didn't have a lot of expectations of how much he would really play, and certainly how much he would if he could crack the playoff rotation by the time the playoffs came around. It was just such a short runway, relative to a full season, relative to guys that have been on this team for a long time. I didn't know if he'd be able to do that. At this point, I would like, he has to be in the rotation. He has to get playoff minutes.
I was just pulled up what I wrote on the initial trade reaction. I said, he's got a good chance to play because everyone's injured. But with just 60 injury riddled games played before his 22nd birthday and a shaky defensive profile at best, it's better to view McCain as a long term project than a playoff ready contributor.
And I think that was the overarching, like, local and national feel for this trade. Like, what a great like what a great move for Oklahoma City, in case, let's say, they want to move on from one of Joe or Wiggins in the offseason, and they kind of have his replacement ready to go.
Yeah, he was just like the toe pitch understudy.
Yeah,
Like,
like, it was like, "Oh, well, they just replaced Usman Jang with Jared McCain, good for them, but we'll see if he can actually play." And that was answered so quickly,
yeah,
so quickly. So,
I, I
I'm stoked to see what the playoff minutes look like.
I'm gonna say he has a role, and I think there's gonna be a little bit of eeny, meeny, miny, mo in certain series, even within certain series. And I just think guys like Wiggins, Angelo, and McCain, if they get a chance, they're gonna get a chance to stay hot,
Sure.
And if they're doing well, then kind of keep running those, especially those early second, early fourth, right minutes that have been a little hit or miss through the hard stretch, but actually pretty solid. Even when Shea's sat, that's why they've a big part of why they've been still winning so many games against tough competition. So I think, quick hook or they are that kind of 20-minute a night guy that game. Maybe two out of the three or three are gonna it's impossible, I think, for all the
Yeah,
players to contribute that many. But
yeah.
yeah.
I'm just like I'm with you. The experimentation from here to the end of the season and what a potential J-Dub return, how that affects things and where guys fall, whose minutes decrease when he comes back. Because obviously J-Dub's gonna get his minutes as soon as he comes back. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, that's a very interesting subplot as we wind down the year. But I'm just A plus 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 for the McCain Joe double big minutes for sure.
We haven't even really been acclimated to the addition of AJ Mitchell to the playoff rotation.
That's right.
Like, that's like feels like a season ago, but it's this one.
That's right. Yep.
Um, yeah, man. But they do need J-Dub. They need, you know, their second best player.
And the more they play with AJ, the more, and I think this helps even more so because of the injury. But I think the emergence of AJ and those double big, like AJ with both bigs to start the second and fourth, I think is going to I think is going to allow for more minutes with Shea and J Dub together because last year it seemed like the goal was we're always going to have one of them on the floor at the same time or at all times. And that meant a
Which
lot of
was the stagger that we always dreamed of. That
yes,
please, can a Thunder coach stagger our
yes,
one and two playmakers throughout the
yes.
whole game?
Shout out Scotty Brooks. Um, the the AJ part of this, I think that's who you stagger is you make sure Shea and AJ are always out there, one of those two. But that leaves you where right now, the end of the first quarter would be, I think, what most people would consider like one of the least effective on paper lineups that we have. But Shea's out there, so that's all that matters. Um, and that's the funnest part is watching him make it all function. But I think with AJ taking such a huge leap this year, I think that would allow more minutes, more of a runway in that first quarter and third quarter for J-Dub to play with Shea. Not that he's going to play the whole first quarter as well, but he could play maybe 8.5 minutes where he would have maybe played 5.5, 6 minutes, and that's also a fun subplot to AJ taking such a big jump. Or the other option is J Dub comes out when he usually does, and here comes AJ, and they finish the first quarter. I think we might see some of that too in the playoffs. And then you put Dub out there with both shooters and both bigs.
Yeah, and I think
Um,
one thing we have to factor in, we can't plan on injuries, but like injuries are a part of the playoffs, right?
eh,
So that will
Absolutely,
answer some of these
yes.
hypotheticals just as much as what's effective or who the matchup is, which is awesome. I mean, not awesome that there will be injuries, but awesome that there's such depth that you feel like you have options, even in
And
the case of significant, if but not the absolute most devastating injuries.
there are coaches who like their their problems are we don't have a seventh guy that we trust. Mark's problem is we have 13, and how do we divvy out minutes? how do we build out a rotation for guys who have been incredible in the regular season? Guys that have helped sustain the best record in the league while like surefire playoff guys have been injured. How do we build a rotation uh, to include guys? And that's we're not handing out charity minutes in the playoffs by any means, but like, what an interesting spot to be for a coach to try and find minutes for that many guys. And we've seen, I mean, Mark played 10 guys in the first, what was it, 10 guys in the first half against in game one against Memphis, or the first quarter. It was a lot. He played a lot of guys in that first round series, and just he's never, I mean, he played AJ in game one of the finals. He played AJ. Everybody was shocked to see AJ. He's not afraid to put somebody out there. I think he'll find ways to get guys on the floor, but man, what an interesting spot to be for him.
It still irritates me that he did that because
I
I'm
know.
constantly
I
stopping
know.
myself from saying AJ didn't play any
He was so
real minutes, but he
close.
played real minutes.
He
But
was
it's like,
so close there. If you remember that one possession where he missed a three, it front rim right back to him. He gets the rebound and takes like a floater around the free throw line, missed it as well. And you're like, I think he got the hook pretty soon after that, but like that could have been, if that three goes in, Mark looks
who
like
knows? Who
everybody's like,
knows?
"Who is this guy? And how is he hitting a three in game one of the finals?" But yeah, I'll never forget that short little stint for AJ in game one of that series, and how much, like, given the fact that they ended up losing game one, how big of a talking point that was for fans. Like, we lost game one. Why did Mark play AJ? But yeah, that's how they do it. Like, Mark is not afraid at all to put guys out there.
Especially last postseason. I think if Dylan Jones looked especially hot in warmups, he might have had a
You
chance
never know.
at getting a rollback against
You just
Indiana,
never know.
the way they were shooting from as a team. So,
I saw Dylan Jones on the bench for the Knicks the other night.
uh-huh. I
It
don't know
took
if
me a
he's getting any time at
Yeah, it
all.
took me a minute to be like, I recognize, oh, that's Dylan Jones. That's who that
He
is.
had
But
some social media thing. Looked like a couple of the Thunder players like visited him.
yeah,
So it's like
we
something like
we wouldn't
in
be
his backyard or something like that.
we wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't mention Peyton Sandfort appearing in his first NBA game, scoring his first bucket, a three in front of the bench. He had his own celly, just vibes so high.
What are these guys? What are these two-way players? This is so weird, that we have
Power rank for me: Peyton Sandfort, um,
buddy.
Brooks Barnhizer, Buddy
Mm,
Boeheim, and let's throw Adam Flagler from last year in there, and Chris Youngblood. Why don't you power rank those five for me? This is serious
well,
podcasting
I'll
right
say
now.
we, shout out to Red Nut on the commenting session who's done a scouting report on Chris Youngblood. So he's getting some, uh, real developmental, uh, growth in the G League right now and, like, real stuff.
News to me.
Praise
Shout out.
praise the commitment.
That's a
And
knower.
I mean, I can't. Who knows? Maybe the way these, undrafted and second rounders turn out. So, I mean, I know technically Barnheiser is the most talented, but
I think Barnheiser's bottom three player to ever put on the jersey.
yeah, I
With
mean,
with all due respect to Mr. and Mrs. Barnheiser, um, I think I have it's you'd have to go back pretty far, I think.
he's new guy at pickup. He's, very, very high hustle, but like in the wrong place always, and like
The motor is there.
trying to screen
I
his
can't
own
take that away from him.
teammates and not not getting humiliated on defense, but you know,
No,
yeah,
no, it's not. I will say the defensive end is not the issue. He works his tail off on defense. And honestly, he's had good nights in the G League.
Yeah, but the G League's not real, sorry.
Not
It's
real.
well, I mean, like, the players are real. I mean,
The but the
Alex
points are made
Caruso is
up.
a G League, triumph, but you can't glean, like it's not NBA level competition, so you can't
Sure. Very fair.
really tell if that will translate just like college to the pros in a lot of ways, but alright, we better wrap it up. Oh, I was gonna ask one question. So I ran this long article just, I think everyone's kind of figuring out how we kind of slowly realize what Shea has done. He's now, neck and neck with Michael Jordan on scoring 30 points per game in 4 straight seasons and neck and neck with Steph Curry on true shooting, uh, in the very top, of those rankings on 30 plus point shooting seasons. The mid range is crazy. The rim and the three and the free throw are all super efficient. Like everything is the right shot always. And
Yeah.
everyone's, praising for that. And that is great. My question is, all that being said, as much as I'm celebrating the 2 pointer, he's been hitting these step back game winning three. And
Yeah.
like, what if he took 4 step back threes a game next season? Like what if that's
Sure.
the next thing?
I
Like, could he actually keep optimizing up, you know?
I wouldn't put it past him. I've always enjoyed getting to games early um to see the routine. He takes a lot of them. A lot of the sidestep a lot of the sidestep 3 on the wing, that right wing, he takes a lot of them. And you can stand there for a good minute and every one of them looks the exact same. They go into the basket the exact same. It's it's interesting. Like that's what a world we'd be living in if he comes back next year and it's like I'm going to take 9 threes a game and we're going to stay around that 40% number. Like what's he going to do, average 36? It's really an interesting idea. And I wouldn't put it past him. There's just such a core tenet of this offense to get into the paint that I don't know if the attempts are ever going to get to that level. But I think if that was his one objective, I think he'd do it.
You're right that it's kind of against their philosophy on getting an advantage shot, right? And he can create that initial breaking the arc advantage almost every single possession, so why wouldn't he do that first? But, like, I just wonder about, like, as an energy thing, like, step backs early in the shot clock. You're up by 15
Yeah.
or, let's Luca and James Harden, saunter back a lot more possessions than Shea has to after he's crashing to the rim.
It is a great way to preserve energy, as I think both Harden and Luca would attest. Like, but you don't want to drive past 2 guys this possession. Why don't you just take 1 step back and let it fly?
Not just preserve energy, but draw fouls. The step back is an ultimate,
Maybe the
in the toolkit of the foul drawers, the foul artists.
maybe the 3-point foul draw is the next evolution. Maybe that's the next step
Every season there has been
every
so far.
season.
He's a machine.
In all seriousness though, on all seriousness though, I think it's this year it's been the playmaking that has just popped off the screen this year. The assist numbers, you know, throwing it to guys who are lethal shooters helps get the numbers up, but like the potential assists are up, the corner threes generated are up, the open threes generated is up. All of these things are just massive thumbs up for this offense and for Shea. His ability to handle these double teams with ease now. Um, and kind of counter that to what I don't know if you watched the the Lakers Rockets game a couple nights ago where Durant still at I mean he's what year 18 just still looks totally confused when he sees a trap. Uh Shea evolving and for someone who gets trapped a ton, and we saw it be effective at certain times last season, like seeing him evolve into a playmaker out of those blitzes and double teams, that is a huge development, especially come playoff time, because that's how I think a lot of teams are going to choose to live or die is with everyone else. So him like really taking steps forward in that area, I think is where he is has really shined this year as for something new.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people thought by some of those early stats and the eye tests earlier in the season that he looked, even though the kind of assist numbers and everything were kind of holding,
Hmm.
um, but it was, without J Dub and then with a very rusty shooting J Dub for a long stretch. And then, but yeah, now that we made it to this side of the break with a little bit more of the better offensive players available outside of J Dub, his all those numbers have kind of exploded
Yeah,
since the All-Star break.
and the big it hasn't that those assist numbers going up hasn't stopped him from also scoring in the mid 30s. That Denver game's a great
Yeah.
example.
It's not that he's like, adjusting his package really. It's
Yes.
just that better shooters make more shots. And better relocators relocate better and better screeners and
He's probably going to get 4 to 5 minutes per game more in the playoffs than he is right now. Like we're going to see more minutes of this.
yeah, yeah. All right, well, good times to be a Thunder fan. Thunder won their 10th straight in
10th
Brooklyn,
straight, yeah. Oh, and before
and
we go, shout out to you. That was a great piece up on the website. So everybody go check that out. It's awesome. Good job
hey,
by you.
thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. We were chatting before this. I think everyone is realizing, national media including, to their credit, that Shea's accumulating just an all-time resume already. It's not a if he does this a couple more. It's not one of those. It's he has done this now for 4 straight years, and this is like a peak offensive. It's the next. It's what people were saying about James Harden when he
Yeah.
peaked. When they
It's
were
the
saying like,
this is the best guard peak extended guard peak since Steph um in the late 2010s. Yeah, it's special stuff. It really is, and we're seeing it so consistently. I think that's the hallmark of what Shay's done is that it's every night. There's no peaks and valleys. It's just so consistent each night. It really is amazing what we're watching.
yeah. All right. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks to our listeners. We will see you next time on the podcast. See you on the weekly show. In addition to this, of course, look out for the newsletter recap, pregame primer. Of course, we do have blog content every single day, including the Saturday morning cartoons and some word games that I've been putting together for the biggest nerds among us.
Shout out to the
So yeah,
cartoons.
uh,
The cartoons are electric.
and of course, find me and Ryan on Twitter and help us chill out and
Help you chill out.
act like we've been there before.